started. It is day 7 today. I'm going to start by titling my page. We are in Algebra 1, and we're beginning Unit 2. And Unit 2 is all about, we've been doing equations and inequalities, but now we're doing something fancy called linear equations and inequalities. So we're just going to title this Linear Equations and Inequalities. Okay. So we're jumping right into notes today because I'm going to teach you some new stuff. So day 7 notes, and it's April 2nd. It's Wednesday. All right. So today I had you get graphing paper. Now, we have graphing paper today because the next step of equations, being able to solve them, we can do that now. We just took our quiz learning all about solving and graphing inequalities as well. But now we're looking at something a little more complex. So if you grabbed the graph paper that already had graphs drawn out, wonderful. If not, we are going to draw a graph, and you will need a ruler for this. So at each of your tables, there should be rulers in those little plastic bins, the colorful rectangle bins. And if you don't have a ruler at your table, there are extras over here under the turn-in trays. But we're going to start by drawing a line that goes straight up and down. And don't do it just randomly. You want it to line up with one of the blue lines on your paper. So we'll start by putting our ruler down flat. I'm going to hold it in place nice and firm, and I will draw a line straight up and down. And that's how big I made it. Yours doesn't have to be this big, but that's just how I did it. And at the top of your line, we're going to make an arrow. Same with the bottom. There we go. Now, somewhere in the middle of that line, we will do another one, going straight across, also lining it up as perfectly as you can with the lines on your page. So let's do that. There we go. So this is a graph, and we use it to plot points. What does that mean? I'm going to teach you today. Yeah. Oh my goodness, girl, yes. X-axis and Y-axis. We'll talk about that. So I'm going to zoom in on this, and the first thing we're going to do is we are going to label this graph. Just like Titania said, we have 2 axes. There is the line that goes up and down. That is, do you remember which one it is?
The Y-axis?
Yes.
Up and down.
The Y goes up and down, so I'm going to just make this whole line blue to signify that. This is the Y-axis. So the X-axis must be the line going straight across left to right. This will never change. X is always left to right. Y is always up and down. And as a little refresher, if you took pre-algebra with me, I showed you this trick. If not, I'm going to show it anyway. one more time. Whenever I was in high school, I had a really tough time remembering, for some reason, which axis was which letter. So here's the trick I use. If I draw a letter Y, I can take the tail of that letter and drag it down. So the Y-axis is up and down. The X-axis, going through it, see how there's like a little arrow at the end?
Half an inch.
It's half of an X. I could draw the other half and whoop, there's my X. So this is just my trick to remembering which is which. Maybe you don't have trouble with remembering. I did, so this is what I came up with to help me remember. So Y is up and down, X is left to right. So I'll move that to the side. Now, our graph, is also what we would call a coordinate plane. I'm going to write that. It's a big word. I'm going to use a different color. This is our coordinate plane. Okay, what on earth does that mean? Does anybody know what a coordinate is?
It's actually area on the line. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So, yes, a coordinate tells us where something is. It's a location. A coordinate is going to be something exact, and we will have two numbers that will tell us where it goes. Now, I'm going to show you what that means in a moment, but let's actually finish labeling our coordinate plane, our graph. And here is what we need to do next. We're going to start by looking just at the x-axis. And we're going to think of this as just a regular normal number line, okay? So on your number line, the middle is 0. To the right side, what kind of numbers do I have?
Positive.
Positives. So I'm going to start by drawing a little tick mark at each little cross section here. And I'll zoom in so you can see really what I'm doing. And I'm just going to very small numbers label. This will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It doesn't matter if you have as many numbers as me. It's okay if yours only goes up to like 3 or 4. That's fine. But this is where the positive numbers go. Now on the other side of my x-axis, what kind of numbers do I have?
Negative.
Negatives. So we're going to label those as well. They go in reverse order. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, -6, -7, -8, and I didn't quite make it even, -9. There we go. That's what I got so far. Okay. So our x-axis is fully labeled. Now we need to look at our y-axis. So on the y-axis, we don't have a left side and a right side. We have up and down. So we're going to still have 0 in the middle. But this time we need to decide, do my positive numbers go up or down?
Positives go up.
Positives go up. So we will label each of these tick marks with positives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I only made 7. That's okay. And if the top side, if up is positive, then down must be negative. -1, -2, -3, -4, -7, -8, -9, -10. Okay, so there's my graph. my coordinate plane. And we are going to talk about how to use this today. Now, you may see this and already know how to use it, and that's great. Then this will be a review for you today. If you don't know how to use it, I'm going to teach you. So, let me ask you guys, just by show of hands, who knows how to put coordinates on a graph? Raise your hand if you know how to do this already. A few of us. That's awesome. Awesome, awesome. Okay. Well, we have just enough of us that it's worth going over again. So, let's talk about that fancy word, coordinate. Now that our graph is labeled, we have an x-axis and a y-axis. All of these numbers are possible values. The numbers left to right are x values. The numbers up and down are y values. A coordinate looks like this. We have parentheses with a comma separating two numbers. The first value will always be an x value, and the second value will always be a y value. So, what we'll do with this is I'm going to write out some, I'm going to actually just put some random points on my graph. I'll start with this one here. And we're going to talk about how would we name this point. So on our coordinate here, we have an x and a y. What this means is we first want to see where does this dot, where does this point line up with the x-axis being the red line. So if I am here, what number do I land on when I follow the blue line all the way down to the x-axis? 4. And I'll trace that. So we can see whenever I trace to the x-axis, my x value is 4. So let's draw a little line out here, and I'm going to label this coordinate. My x value is 4. So I write 4. What would my y value be? 3. So if I trace over to the y-axis, I see that it lines up with 3. So my y value is 3. Everybody see how that works? It's like connect the dots. You just are tracing to see where does it line up with. And we're kind of making little connections there. So here's a coordinate. What if I did something down here? Which value should I look at first? The x value. So where does this point line up on the x-axis? +2. Good. And you don't have to draw these dotted lines. I'm just doing it for visual aid because it may help some of you. Yes. Yes. So our x was +2, comma, and our y value, you are correct, Titania, -5. Good. Beautiful. Okay. Now let's do one over here. Okay. Which value do I check first? The x comes first. Where does this point line up with the x-axis? -6. Good. So that is my x value. And where does it line up? Yes. On the y, it lines up with -2. So that is my y value. Perfect. Perfect. So we have a coordinate here, a coordinate here, a coordinate here, and we'll do one more above. Let's do it right here. How would I label this coordinate?
-3.
For which value?
Y.
For my y? Let's look at x first, just so we don't mix them up.
Your X backwards.
Okay, so my x value is -3. Good. And what's my y? Good, +6. So, we have 4 different points, all with 4 different locations and 4 different parts of this coordinate plane. Now here's a tricky one. Very last one I'm going to give you for now. What would this coordinate be? 0, 0. The middle of the graph is 0. 0, 0. Good. Good, good, good. Okay. So that's just a few examples of all of the different coordinates we might see. Obviously there are millions more. I'm not going to draw them all or my paper would turn black because there's an infinite number of coordinates that exist. But this is how we label them. This is how we see them. We just look to see where are they lining up on the graph. Now let's make sure we can do that in the opposite way. So what I'm going to do is I am going to pull out, I think I have some more graph paper that already has graphs drawn on it. Yes, I do. So if anybody wants one that matches me, I have these. I'm going to lay them out at the front of the room in case you want to save a little time. So they're up here. And now we're going to do the opposite thing. We're going to list off some random coordinates and we're going to make sure that we know where they go on the graph. Okay? So I am going to move this. Before I do, does anyone still need this or can I move it? I'm going to move it. Okay, so before I lose this paper, I'll label it that it's going to be considered part of my notes. Algebra 1, Unit 2, and we did this on day 7. Okay. So, I'm going to list some values. Let's say -1, 4, 4, 3, yeah, 6, 5, 12, 1. Okay, there's 4 random coordinates. Just came from my brain. So, let's start by looking at the first coordinate. And before I actually start plotting them, I'm going to label these with letters so that we're not drawing lines all over the place and making our paper messy. We'll call -1, 4 coordinate A. We'll call 4, 3 coordinate B. 6, 5 will be C. And 1, -3 will be D. So, starting with coordinate A, how would I graph this? What would the process be? Where do I look first? Does anyone feel confident to guide me through that? Titania, tell me.
The x-axis first.
Yes, okay, so I'm going to look at the x-axis first. And what is my x value?
-1.
Good, it's -1. So the x-axis up and down or?
0 and you go to your left.
Yes. here's my x-axis. I'll label that. Since it's -1, I'm going to go over here to -1. And I'm not going to make my point yet, but I'm going to make a little mark so I don't lose my spot.
And then you go up 4.
Okay, up 4. Like up 4 from 0?
On your y-axis, you go up 4.
Yes. Now, am I going up 4 just from this 0 or from...
-1 spot.
Yeah. Good. So we used our x value to find -1. That's going to be how far over it'll be. Then we look at our y value, 4, and from there we go up 4 on the y-axis. And that is point A. We found it. So I will label this with A. There's point A. Good. All right, somebody tell me about point B. Who can do that one? Okay, Rhonda, what am I going to do first?
I'm going to do x first.
Mm-hmm.
The x, yeah.
What's my X?
X is 4.
Perfect.
So I start in the mid, we'll
Mhm.
start at 0 and go to the right 4.
Good. So I'm going to go over to 4 on the x-axis. And where do I go from there?
Up, yeah, up 3.
Perfect. My y value is 3, so I just go up 1, 2, 3, and that is point B. Got it. Got it, got it. Okay. Who can guide me through point C? Anybody, anybody?
Start on the x-axis.
Perfect.
And you'll start in the center at 0 and go over 6.
Yes. Over to 6, and then what?
You're going to go up on the y-axis from 6 up 5.
Okay, perfect. So 6, then I go up 5 on my y-axis, and that is my point. Thank you. Perfect. And that is point C. Beautiful. Okay, who can do the last one?
I'll take it.
Tell us somebody else. Yes. How do I do it?
Okay, so you're gonna go over to the right 1 on the x-axis,
Perfect. Over 1.
and then down 3.
Good. My y is -3, so I go down 1, 2, 3. Right there.
You did it wrong.
I did?
Yeah, you put it on.
Oh, I put, I make mistakes. Thank you. So I did it wrong. What did I do wrong?
You went over it.
Yeah, you plotted it on the 2.
So what would this coordinate be?
2, -3.
This is not 1, -3. This is 2, -3. My bad. 1, -3 is here. So that's my point D. This one, I made a mistake. It happens. Good catch though, Titania, good catch. All right. So we have now plotted a few points. That's wonderful news. We can do it. So what I'm going to do now, just to make sure it's sticking, it seems like you guys get it, but it's never too bad to make sure. I'm going to write out a few more coordinates, give you about 5 minutes to plot them all, and make sure that we got all of them right. If we can do that correctly, we're going to learn something new. So, let me, sorry guys, I'm teaching you. Okay, so here are some points. I want you to plot these on your own on the next graph. Let's do -3, -2. That'll be A. B is 5, 3. Okay. One more. It's a bunch. Okay. I'm gonna set a 5-minute timer. Do as many of these as you can. I bet you can do them all. And then we'll double check these together, make sure we got them all right. So let me just freeze that. All right. Let's look at these coordinates, make sure we know how to plot them. I actually would like to have volunteers. I want you to come up here and draw them on my paper. Who would like to plot point A? Titania, you want to do B, Shayna? Okay, perfect. Come on up. Come on up. Yes, point A. There's my paper. Use whatever pens I got up there.
Alright. Oh, this is gonna be hard. This one here? Which one you want me to use? This one? Okay.
Yes.
So, -3, +2.
All right, is she right? Yeah. Woo, she got it. Beautiful. That's our point A. Shayna, come show us B. All right. I love your outfit. Thank you.
Okay. And, oh, not that, my bad.
Okay.
And B.
Is she right? Yep. Yes. Very nice, Shayna. Who would like to do C? Jessica, come on up. Oh, do it on this
Wrong one.
graph. Yes, perfect. All right, is she right? Yep. She is correct. Good job, Jessica. Who wants to do point D? Any takers? Rhonda, come on up.
I'm gonna try it.
You got this. Okay. Let's see on this graph here.
Okay, so we're doing right here.
Yes, -4, 0. Oh, point D, my bad. It'll be 0, 6.
Okay,
Thanks, guys. Y'all gotta
so
keep me on track.
0 is here,
Mm-hmm.
and then I go up 6.
Yes.
I can't see nothing.
Perfect. I know, these graphs are kind of tiny. Perfect. Was she right? Yep. She's correct. That's point D. Who's got E?
I'll take it.
All right, come on up, Kelsey. After Kelsey, who wants F? Brian, you gonna do F? Okay, perfect. So you'll be next.
All right, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Is she right? Yep. Yes. Perfect. And so label it. Beautiful. Oh, it was E.
Oh God.
That's okay.
There we
That's
go.
all right.
Oh my
Beautiful,
God.
Beautiful. And Brian, come on up. Here, make sure that we can see that. All right. We're gonna do
If
point
you get
F.
this wrong, we get to kick you out.
All right, what you do is, you gotta turn down the dirt road. After you turn down the dirt road, that's called negative road because it's all dirty and bumpy, you know. So that's a -3, so you have to go over here to 1, 2, 3. Then you gotta go +4 when you go back on the highway. That's when the road's smooth, you know, and it's real cool. You go to the big cities, and you go up in Chicago, and go to Wrigley Field, and you go, hey, that's a good field. And that'd be 4. You go up 4 spots, and I can't see nothing because my glasses ain't on.
Uh-oh.
Oh no, I lost my way.
Okay.
There's 3. Go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Is he right?
Yeah.
Yes!
Yep.
Beautiful!
Make sure you turn off the dirt road, Debbie. You're gonna make it.
Let's give our volunteers a round of applause. Amazing. Yes.
Why did I do mine wrong on my paper, but I got a third year correct?
Which one did you do wrong?
D.
D? Where'd you put it?
I had,
Did you put it right in the middle?
I put it in the, I started in the middle.
Uh-huh.
Instead of, yep, I stayed on the X instead of moving up.
I gotcha. I
My
gotcha.
eyes fell on it, because I was just looking.
Yeah, the only point that's on this side is B. Everything else.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
What did I do?
But you know what? I think sometimes making mistakes and being able to see that they were mistakes, that is one of the best ways to learn. Because when you make a mistake and you don't see that mistake, you might keep making it. So, but you corrected.
Spells fed.
Yeah. Fed. That's right. Oh my goodness. Okay guys, I think we're pros. We can graph points. That is beautiful. So, let's see. Let me look at my list of topics for today. How do we feel about coordinates? We feel okay? We feel like we can do this on our own? Okay, we'll end up doing lots more graph work as we go forward, but we're going to put this to the side. And now we're going to use this coordinate plane, and we're going to step up to something a little bit more complicated, okay? So we're going to start a new page of notes. I'll call this page 1. And I'm not going to get too crazy with our lesson today because we have our very first Excel graduation this Friday, and today we have our run-through practice at 3 o'clock. So I have to get some stuff together before that meeting. So not so great for me, I run out of time, but great for you, you get a shorter day. So I'm going to show you one more little thing. There won't be an exit ticket today because frankly I'm not going to have time to grade more than just these quizzes before Friday. But I am going to at least show you this new thing. So I'm going to title this page. What are you saying over there? Okay, let's see, page 2. And let's see.
The coordinates always be X and Y?
Will what always be X and Y coordinates?
Yeah, the coordinates.
Always, yes.
I didn't know if they had different verbs.
Not that I know of. There could be, I mean, I guess somebody could make something up, but in general, no matter what level of math you get to, it will always be X and Y, unless you get to the crazy stuff where they add a third axis, the Z-axis. We will never do that in this class, but it does exist, the third dimension. We're not doing that today, or ever. So maybe when you're in like college or something, if you decide to go that route.
Third dimension.
Yeah, the third dimension. So Algebra 1, we're in Unit 2.
Third dimension.
Wait a minute!
I cannot repeat today.
I swear. Y'all, the people not here that are trying to watch this lesson and catch up are going to be like,
Now y'all wonder why my wife gets the first and I don't.
quit it! Okay. Day 7 notes continued. So we have talked about a coordinate plane, a graph, interchangeable words. But now we're going to talk about how we will be using that graph. So I had you title your notes on that previous page, linear equations. So I am going to write that word one more time. We won't talk about inequalities until at least next week. But today, I'm going to tell you what a linear equation is. This is day 7. It is. It's day 7, and it is Wednesday, April 2nd. Because day 6 was yesterday. Day 5 was Monday. Day 1, 2, 3, 4 was last week. Yeah, I know. It doesn't feel like it should be day 7 already. It's kind of gone fast. It It's pretty crazy. No. Linear equations. Now, we are going to learn two fancy words that, again, some of you may have already heard of these, but if not, I'm teaching you. So, I'm also going to use a specific set of colors for this unit, and these colors will not change. So if you are wanting to match my notes, I will be using purple, orange, red, and blue. Classic colors. And if you need colors, there should be a bunch of different colored pens and markers in your little turntable thingies at your, you know, and if not, there's more markers at the front of the room above the paper. But here is what I'm going to have you write. Y equals M. M is purple. X plus B, as in boy, B is orange. Y equals MX plus B. You will see this every day from today until the end of this unit. So we're going to use it a lot, and I'll teach you what it means. First of all, has anybody ever seen this before? You ever seen this equation? Some of you may have, maybe for a minute or so, but no worries. I'm going to have you label two things.
I see that the X is.
Yes. So, M, the letter M in our equation, stands for, so I'm going to write M equals slope. Slope. S-L-O-P-E. And B equals something called a y-intercept. Okay.
That's what I got confused there, because it's supposed to be X equals B, don't it?
It's y equals mx plus b. What do you mean x equals
Oh,
b?
never mind, because I thought you was gonna write the y-axis and the x-axis.
Oh,
That's why I
no.
was confused there. That's what you were-
I get you. No, I'm giving you something a little bit new.
Okay.
Actually, very new. This might be completely brand new to you. So, we have y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. Now, you might be thinking, what is a slope? What is a y-intercept? Oh my gosh. I'm going to show you. So, we are going to draw another graph. That's why I've kept this graph paper for my notes. But this time I'm going to make it small. What I will do is, instead of drawing my lines first, I'm going to draw the top of my arrow like this. And I want to have 4, positive 4. So I'm going to do 4, 3, 2, 1. And then this will be a 0. And then -1, -2, -3, -4. And then I'll connect the dots. Or, yeah. Then I'll draw my line. So, is this my x-axis or my y-axis? Y-axis. Good. So we'll label it. Now my x-axis, make sure that it lines up with your 0 here. This is 0. And I'm going to make 4 going each way as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4. -1, -2, -3, -4. And I will connect my points just like that. Okay. And we just drew the x-axis. So now I have a little graph. I've got a little graph. Once you have your graph drawn, I'm going to write an equation, and I'm going to show you what to do with this equation. All right, y equals let's do 2/3, 2/3 x minus 2. So I drew my graph and then I wrote an equation. Y equals 2/3 x minus 2. And I'll give everyone a minute to have that written down and caught up, because the next thing I want to talk with you about, I will need your full undivided attention. It is important. So I'm going to pause this for a moment, let everyone catch up. Look at this now. So, looking at the linear equation I gave you, y equals mx plus b, I would like us to compare that to y equals 2/3 x minus 2. So the y and the x in this equation will never change. There's never going to be a number here instead for y or x. You will, however, have numbers for m for your slope and b, your y-intercept. What would be my slope in this equation? 2/3. My slope is m, so we're going to circle 2/3 and label it as our slope. Slope is 2/3. Okay. What would my y-intercept be? -2. Good. I love that you guys also recognize that since it's -2, it makes it negative. It says plus b in the original problem, so if it's subtraction, that means it's -2. So over here, I'm going to write y, and I will abbreviate intercept often because it is a very long word. I'm going to write y-int. This means y-intercept. And that value is -2. Okay. So, we just found both of these values. Now, the y-intercept. Does anybody know what that is? A y-intercept? Has anyone ever heard the word intercept?
And where two lines cross?
Intersection is where two lines cross, but intercept is very similar. It has a really similar meaning. Super similar.
They cross each other.
It is where a cross happens, essentially. Yes, yes. Okay, so meeting, crossing, intersecting, they're all similar. This number, the y-intercept, tells us where will I touch the y-axis. It's giving you a y value. So if the y-intercept is -2, where am I touching the y-axis? At what number? At -2. So, what I will do is first we're going to graph this y-intercept, -2. So I'm going to go over to my graph, and am I looking at the line going up and down or left and right?
Up and down.
Up and down. My y-axis goes up and down. And if I want to put a point on -2, will I go up 2 or down 2?
Down
down 2. This is my y-intercept. You just graphed it. Very nice. So, off to the side here, actually I'm going to give you some, I'm thinking ahead in my brain. Ignore me. We're going to continue, and then I'll give you what I was about to give you. Okay, so we just plotted a y-intercept. If you find this helpful, maybe we can label it as the y-intercept. What would the coordinate be for this point?
-1.
0, -2. Good. And it's 0 because if we look, where does this line up on the x-axis? At 0. So that's our x value. And our y value is -2 because, well, it's touching -2 on the y-axis. So that's our coordinate. Now I'm going to show you one more thing. We've plotted our y-intercept, and now we're going to talk about slope. So slope is exactly what it sounds like. It's telling us how steep something is. If something has a really big slope, it will be steeper. When something has a small slope, it's not as steep. It's not as much of an incline. So my slope here is 2/3. I'm going to have us think of slope in terms of something a little bit different. So over here near my equation, I'm going to have you write m, and then I'm going to write slope Don't worry, this is not another formula. I'm just labeling what we're about to talk about. Slope can also be written as, we're going to use blue and red here, rise, almost, run. So rise meaning how far up or down we go, over run, which tells us how far to the right we go. Could be to the left, but we're going to assume for now it's always to the right. So, slope is also considered rise over run. Rise over run. Now, let's talk about what rise over run means, because I'm giving you a lot of words and I'm not telling you what they mean. Down here, we found out that our slope was 2/3. If slope is also rise over run, and my rise tells me how far up or down do I go, what number would I use? 2. My rise is 2. And what would my run be? 3. Okay, so here's how we use this. The y-intercept is our starting point. We have started by putting a point there. Now we're going to use our slope, or our rise over run, to find another point. And here's how we do that. Starting at the y-intercept, don't start at 0, starting at -2, first we're going to do the rise. The rise is +2, so I'm going to move up 2 spaces. So I'm going to go up 1, 2, there's my rise, and you don't have to label this, but I'm going to, because I do think this helps. My rise was 2, so I went up 2. What's my run? 3. Since these are both positive, that's why we went up. since positive values are up. Now, in the x direction, my positives are to the right. So we have positive 3. How many spaces to the right do I go? 3. So from where I just left off, I go over 1, 2, 3. And then I have my second point. So I'll label this as well, how I moved. This is my run. It was 3, and I went over to the right. And now I have 2 points on my graph. Now, what's the coordinate of this point that we just plotted? Yes. Oh, wait, say it again. 0, 3. Is it 0, 3? My x comes first.
3, -2.
Your numbers are right. That's okay. Your numbers are correct. They were just flip-flopped. This is 3 on the x-axis and 0 on the y because we didn't go up or down. It's on the x-axis. So you will need your ruler again. And here's the part where we need to be very precise. I'm going to zoom in as close as I can. Yes, ma'am.
Really bad.
Yeah, guys, if you can't see, you can always tell me. I won't take offense to that. I want you to be able to see what I'm writing. Oh, I'm sorry, Rhonda. No, please speak up. I'm happy to do that. Okay, so we have this. We have our 2 points. I'm going to take my ruler, my straight edge, and I want to line up here in the middle of this point and the middle of that point as close and perfect as I can. Okay, that's pretty good. And I am going to trace through my points. And on the end of my line, I draw arrows. Does anyone know why I'm drawing arrows on all my lines? Yes, these arrows tell us that the line never ends. It is infinite. It goes on forever and ever and ever. We cannot even comprehend that, but in math, there really is no end. It's infinite. So, guess what we just did? I just tricked you into graphing a line. You graphed a line. That's pretty cool. So, moving forward in the future, you will see an equation like this, like our y equals 2x, y equals 2 over 3, or 2/3 x minus 2, and you will be able to graph a line so fast. You will. This is just the first time I'm showing it to you. Just want to introduce it to you, okay? You guys can leave. That's it.
Eventually, I got one question.
Yes, please.
All right, when you do the y enter and you rise,
Uh-huh.
that changes the y on the coordinate?
Say that one more time, the rise.
You know, when you do the y,
Mm-hmm.
you should rise 2 up and you got the 0.
Yes.
So did that change the y? Because your y started off at -2.
So
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too.
if I was plotting or if I was trying to name a coordinate that was right here, yes, it would change the y, but this is the point that we were labeling. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, like when we started at -2.
Yes.
And then it rose 2 when we did the y instantly. And then at the end you said the new coordinates was 3 and 0.
Yes, yes. Okay, so we're kind of thinking of these as they're 2 separate things. We've got this one that is 0 for x because it is not anywhere to the left or the right. On the x-axis, it lines up right here at 0. Do we see that?
Right.
And then on the y-axis, we don't need to trace at all because it's already touching the y-axis. So there's where the -2 comes from. And then over here, our 3, it's the same thing. We don't have to trace to the x-axis because it's already touching the x-axis at 3. So our x value is 3. And then our y value, if I were to take this point and trace to the y-axis, it lands at 0 on the y-axis.
Because I would have thought when you say rise,
Mm-hmm.
that's
you would start from 0 point and rise up 2 and then over 3.
Right. And you know, that is a super common mistake that a lot of us will probably make as we start practicing these is once you do your y-intercept, then starting from 0 with your slope. But we use our y-intercept as the starting point. Yes, yes. So it's like this becomes our 0 in a way. Yeah. And again, if you are confused about this and completely lost, don't be worried. We will talk more about it tomorrow. I just wanted to show you it today. No exit ticket. Just wanted to introduce it. Tomorrow we'll do more of this. There won't be an exit ticket tomorrow either, but if you're not here, you will miss a lot of content. We're going to learn more about this. So be here if you can. If not, please watch the videos, okay? I will see you all later. Have a great rest of your day.